the last 20 plus years that I've been coaching people, the good news is that everybody I've coached has at least one or two of these skill sets when they walk into business. I've never met anybody who has all five. And when we're missing a space, that hurts us in our business. And sometimes year after year after year, we keep trying things and nothing seems to really work. We don't seem to move that far ahead. And so what I found, one of the most powerful things that I found to do, okay, Nirmala, yes, you're getting used to Facebook Live too. We're all learning as we go along here. But one of the things that I realized early on in my coaching was that my job as a coach was to help people identify these areas and then help them set a plan for fixing those areas. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. So let's start talking about the 5 areas. And the very first area is one you might not have thought of. It's the creative. It's the creative side. Everyone needs to have some sort of creativity to be successful in business. Now, some of us are more creative than others. I tend to be too far, way over the top creative. Now, this creativity doesn't just mean that you have to be an artist or something of that nature. But you have to be able to allow your mind to think a little bit outside the box. In fact, according to an Adobe Forrester consulting survey, they noticed that companies who actively foster creative thinking outperform companies who don't, which is very, very interesting. Because sometimes companies, or when I work, I feel like this is what I've got to do, and I have to follow this step-by-step pattern, which we do. I mean, we have to follow some sort of plan, but how do we come up with that plan? The way we come up with that plan is creative. Now, there's a couple of gals here in town that did some really interesting things. First of all, sometimes you're going to be creating the business. Hey, Kevin. Sometimes you're going to be creating the business. For instance, I got a gal here in town, Barbara Lascano, and she had a recipe and turned it into a business. Sweet Babs, and as she says, she brings love to the table. I love that value proposition. And you can buy her sauce online at sweetbabsbrands.com. And when I post this video, I'm going to have everybody's email up there, okay, so that you'll know what it is. But you can purchase it online, or she does sell it in some of the shops here in Winter Park and other areas. But she took something that she did, a hobby, and turned it into a business. I have another friend who had sheep, and in the spring they had to shear them, and she had to do something with all this wool. So she started spinning it and dyeing it and then making Santa Clauses with it. And before you knew it, she has this huge business. So sometimes we take... Kevin says I'm the epitome of creativity. Yes, I am. Maybe too much so. So she did a really neat thing with her business. Now, sometimes it's not a hobby. Sometimes we get into business, the creativity part, because necessity is the mother of invention. And I've got a great one here from Tu Hien Lei. She was a working mother who had was trying to breastfeed, had to pump, and I'm sorry for the guys on here, but it's not a very comfortable thing to do, all right? So she thought about this and said, there's got to be a better way, and she designed comfort cushions for when you're pumping, and she has started this business, which is absolutely fabulous. I sure wish they had it back when I was nursing, but anyway. So sometimes we come up with our own ideas for a business. Now, some of you out there are in direct sales, or you are in you're selling for another company, something for another company. Here's where your creativity comes in. How can you position yourself as the expert? This is very important. For instance, my husband and I do sales training. We have to position ourselves as the experts in our field. And I got some gals who are in direct sales, Alice, Kay, they sell different healthcare products, but they have become a health coach. So both of them are not just, it's not just that I work for Wild Tree or I sell Kangen or I sell, Mary Kay. It's not just that. It's that I sell this product, but I am the expert in my field. It's very interesting. People will spend up to 9% more if you're an expert. That's a guerrilla marketing stat. So positioning yourself as the expert, I kind of sell, I do some send out cards. No, you're a communications expert. You are a customer development expert. And then starting to do things like Facebook Live, finding ways to market yourself as the expert. Now, some of you are sitting back there and going, I just don't feel that terribly creative. I'm going to give you a couple tips on how to get the creative juices going. Number one, hang with creative people. Creative people love to congregate. But the other thing is, sometimes you need to get alone. And alone time is very important for creativity. And my best time is first thing in the morning. What I like to do is, upon waking, I like to lay in bed. Hey, Lydia. I like to lay in bed, and I like to stay there for about 20 or 30 minutes. It's when I'm the freshest, when I'm the least burdened, because as the day goes on, you're being pulled in too many different directions. So as in the first thing in the morning, I can sit there and I can focus on letting my mind expand a little bit. So getting away. Also, I've got some great ideas when I'm sitting at the beach just staring at the ocean waves. Having that downtime where there's not stress will allow you to be more creative. The second thing is, before you set out to be creative, give yourself some parameters. If you say the sky's the limit, there's too many possibilities. All right. So give yourself some parameters. I have this new product. I want to start marketing it to this particular target group. Now, what are some creative ideas that I can do to pull this target market in? Give yourself some parameters, but let your mind soar. And the third thing is, put this on your calendar. Put creativity time on your calendar. I think sometimes as business owners, we feel like I've got to be going. I've got to be doing. And we don't spend enough time planning and thinking. And I think this is one of the big mistakes we can make. We can feel like we're busy, but are we being productive? Which brings me to our second element, because our first element was creativity, but our second element is administration. Now, administration is not my favorite part, okay, but critical. And what happens is when we don't have a favorite part, that part tends to get pushed aside. I remember when I finally started to grasp administration, I was about 2 years behind in my filing. I mean, it was terrible, but I had to get a hold of it. Now, administration, when we talk about administration, that's the incorporation of your business. That's copyrights, trademarks, those kinds of things. It's also any kind of material that you create to help you with this product. It's staff, it's office supplies. Let me tell you about office supplies. Sometimes we limp along with outdated technology. A perfect example of this is we had a printer, and I bought this printer, I think, in 2008. And by 2013, this thing was obsolete. And I'm pulling my hair out with this printer. So finally, I think it was 2015, last year, I said, I can't stand this any longer. Let's go see what we can do with the printer. We got a new printer, and I love it. And it saves me so much time. It's not eating manuscripts. sometimes we try to limp along and we think we're saving money by using something that's outdated. Let me tell you, technology is doubling every 18 months. Is doubling up to date with the latest technologies. And I realize it's telling me my connection is getting weak, and I apologize for that because it shouldn't happen. But we need to stay up to date with the latest technologies. But when I get to administration, I think one of the most important aspects of administration is your business plan. And I know that's a painful topic because it's like, oh, I just want to do, I don't want to plan. And yet, a specific, detailed, doable business plan is one of the most important aspects of your business. And so often we say, but I just really don't know how to do it. Well, there is hope. There is hope. First of all, there's an organization, We Venture. And We Venture was here in Orlando. They still have an office down in Melbourne. And you can also reach them on Facebook with We Venture Ignite 360. And they will help you create a business plan. But for here in Orlando, the organization I really enjoy is NAWBO Orlando. And Lydia is president of NAWBO right now. She's on this call. And NAWBO has an amazing program for helping you not only create a business plan, but they make it a competition. And in this competition, you get to go to classes and you learn how to put together your business plan. And then they compare them, and it's coming up November 10th. Lydia, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's coming up November 10th, the business plan, and they give quite a prize. I mean, they give a money prize, as I recall. So, but Lydia, if you can type in a little bit of information on there for folks. But I would highly recommend connecting with NAWBO. NAWBO stands for the National Association of Women Business Owners. And I'm surprised how many women, when I coach them, they've never heard of NAWBO. And yet this is a wonderful national organization with they do luncheons regularly. They have evening meetings. Definitely check them out. It's an excellent place to make a connection. So that kind of handles our administration. Remember, bookkeeping is king. You've got to keep good books, and you got to pay your taxes. You have to pay taxes. And if you struggle in these areas, this is a place where you need to bring somebody in and hire them and say, please help me. It's worth the money. I promise you, it's worth the money to get your administration straightened out. Let's take a look at the next cog in our wheel is marketing. Marketing. Thank you for the thumbs up. Marketing is really about your branding. And people really get confused about marketing because there's this phrase, sales and marketing. And so people kind of lump them together like they're the same. Here's my little piece of advice that I like to give about marketing. The difference between sales and marketing. Marketing costs you money. Sales makes you money. Now, I'm going to show you some very interesting ways that you can market without it costing you a lot of money. Hang with me till the end of this. But marketing is my brand, putting together a brand. One of the challenges, I think, for businesses is they try to create a brand too soon. They don't know enough about their target market. They don't know enough about what the target market, what their hot buttons are. So they'll pick colors. This is universal. Somebody will come to me for branding. Hey, Jill, haven't seen you in a long time. Carol, good to see you. People will come to me about branding, and I'll say, so let me see your brand. And they'll say, well, my brand is going to be blue and white. And I said, well, why did you pick blue and white? Because blue's my favorite color. Well, that's great, but I don't know if it's your target market's favorite color. I mean, is that what's going to attract your target market? So there's a lot that goes into branding before you actually settle on a particular brand. And I've seen so many businesses invest a lot of money into branding, get 2 years down the road and have to change everything because it just didn't match what they were actually, the core of what they actually sold. But marketing is also when you go to leads groups, networking organizations, and I highly recommend you go and use these pressing the flesh. Let me give you an example. We are in the presidential campaign time. And yes, the campaign, the candidates are using some social media, but they're not depending on it 100%. In fact, they're wearing themselves out, going all over the country, meeting people. Why? Because pressing the flesh, meeting somebody one-on-one is where I start to build rapport. So networking meetings are critical. And I'm going to be talking in a future broadcast about how to introduce yourself at networking meetings and some of the key things you can do to make your networking more effective. But it's also, branding is also the text on your website, all right? It's your value propositions. Coming up with benefit statements of the benefits, results, and solutions that you provide. That's really the core of your marketing. It's also, I mean, you may be purchasing ads, you might be doing pay-per-click. All that is wrapped up in marketing. And some people are really, really sharp at that. And others struggle. And if you're struggling, that's you know, both WeVenture and Nalbo will help you. There are business coaches that will help you with this, because this is a very key area that you don't want to miss the boat on. The next area is sales. Now, what can I say? I can tell you we're a sales training firm, all right? Let me give you this piece of advice. Whenever I say the word sales, people, you know, act like it's a four-letter word. You know, I don't want to hear this. And it's not a four-letter word. Sales is a five-letter word. But sales is really where things happen. The saying is true. Nothing happens until somebody sells something. But let me give you a couple of tips here. Years ago, my husband started building a relationship with somebody he met on LinkedIn. And this man was the top engineer in his city. And he was looking to start his own engineering firm. And my husband said to him, "What do you know about sales?" And he said, "Nothing." And my husband said, "Well, don't quit your day job, because once you start a business, it's not just being the best hairdresser, the best engineer, the best this, the best that, okay? That's important, but now you're also wearing the sales hat. And you're going to be the one out there on the front line. So the idea here is, what are you doing to improve your sales skills? How is your entire sales process, from lead generation through core story, telling your story in 10 minutes or less, and closing deals, and getting quality referrals, and getting repeat business? How are you doing with that? And if you're struggling there, get books. You don't have to come to us, but get books. Find information out there, quality information on improving your sales techniques. And let me give you this extra tip. Too often, and you could hit give me a thumbs up if you've ever thought that some people were just born with a knack for sales. Some people, they were just born to sell. Of course they could sell. As if this is some sort of a genetic code. If you've ever thought that, give me a thumbs up. Because when I sit down with people, I think this is one of the things people tend to think, that I either got it for sales or I don't got it for sales. I'm getting some thumbs up. And the truth of the matter is, sales is a technique. Sales is a skill. And anything that's a skill, says Zig Ziglar, can be improved and learned. So sales is a skill. So therefore, yeah. So if you don't feel real confident in sales, don't think that you can't be successful. Have an appointment at the gym. Okay, Rick, see you later. Don't think that that you can't become better in sales. I have watched, we had a gal here in town, and she was working for a company, and we're known for outbound phone contacting to book appointments. And we came through the training, and then it was the day to do the live calls, because we coach people live. And so she started, she came in that day and she had tears in her eyes. She was terrified. Now, we had prepared her, but she was terrified about picking up the phone. And I know a lot of you out there feel the same way. We sat with her and she followed the script we gave her. She did exactly what we told her. And she booked more appointments that day than anybody else that had come to the training. And 8 months later, she was head of their outbound contacting division at their business. She was head of it. So I don't care where you are in your sales, in your sales experience, it can get better. Carol says, I think you can have the aptitude, but like you said, it can be improved with training. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I want you to be thinking, what are you doing? If you're not in good shape with your sales, what are you doing to improve that? Finally, technology. This is a new one. We didn't have to deal with much of this until about 15 years ago. And now it is definitely a piece of the pie. Technology is, again, it is changing constantly. And the internet is very fluid. We had Snapchat and Instagram. Now Instagram's doing some Snapchat stuff. And now we had Periscope. And now we have Facebook Live. And they're fighting back and forth. And everything is, hey, Suze, everything is changing all the time. So therefore, here's one of the interesting things. Because technology is doubling every 18 months, are you investing in learning and keeping up your skills on technology every year? Are you doing something to improve, or are you getting further and further behind? Because technology is not waiting for you. Now, if you're looking to improve your website, I got the gal for you. She's on this. It's Carol Gann with Orlando Web Wizard. And she is a wizard out there. Carol is the most tenacious, easy to work with person. She's going to stick with you and really help you get your message out there with a website that is very, very interactive and responsive. So Carol Gann is the gal to talk to about that. Make sure you update your website regularly, because again, all kinds of new things happen on the internet, and for Google searches and things like that, this SEO business is changing all the time. Here's one of the examples. If you're involved with YouTube, it used to be how many views you got on YouTube. It's not anymore. It's how long people stay on each video. So it used to be, they said, oh, just come out with 1-minute videos. Well, we still do. But ultimately, you want a video that's 10 minutes long because, and something that's captivating that's going to keep people engaged for that amount of time, because that's what's going to build your SEO with YouTube. So things are always changing and you got to stay ahead. But I want to show you something that's really good, because remember I talked about how you can market without it costing you a lot of money. I want you to think about your business, your shop here. In the past, before the internet, I could advertise on radio. It cost me a lot of money. But now I can make a podcast for free. We all know about television and television advertising. Again, extremely expensive. Guess what? People are watching more hours on YouTube, I think, than television. And we can do this on YouTube for free. Then there were talk shows and interviews. Guess what we have? We have Blab. We can interview anybody from anywhere remotely and have and people can join in and converse with us, and it's just another way to build relationships, and it's free. There were magazines. Oh, magazine ads are really expensive. Well, we have Pinterest now. Then, of course, there were newspapers and articles, things of that nature. And again, I can try to do my advertising in the Orlando Business Journal. I love that newspaper, but it is expensive. It's pricey. Well, I can put out my own blog. I can put out my own white papers. Cards and letters. You know, you can send people coupons and things of this nature. And I am still an advocate of sending written communication that people can hold in their hands. However, we can also handle that on Facebook. And what about photo albums? You know, we used to take pictures and show people something in an album. Well, we've got Snapchat now. I mean, we have Instagram and Snapchat. And then, of course, the latest gossip. Well, we hear all that on Twitter. And finally, email, newsletters, blasts. Well, we've got Facebook Live. We've got webinars. We've got Periscope. We used to have to buy lists for looking for contacts. And I don't recommend doing that because most of the people on that list are dead. And that list has been sold to hundreds of thousands of other businesses. These people have been called to death. Well, now we have LinkedIn. And what's beautiful about this is all these are free. For the very first time in my business life, I have access to a worldwide audience, and it's not going to cost me any money. What are you doing to stay up with this? So the questions you have to ask right now, and I want you to write this down or type it in. I want you to tell me, what is your strength? Everybody has at least one, maybe you have two, that are spectacularly strong for you. What areas of your business are strong? You know, for Joe and I, it was creative and sales. When you find your strength, remember to throw your fastball. Focus on your fastball. Make sure you're throwing your fastball. Here's an example. We could hire people to do outbound phone calls for us. Why would we? We're the best in the business, okay? That's our fastball. So we not only train sales, we actually make our own sales calls. So what are your strengths? And then you need to consider, what are the areas you need to improve? Now, there's a couple different ways that you can improve these. Let's say it's administration. Well, if you need help with a business plan, get in touch with Novo, get in touch with WeVenture, get in touch with a business coach, get in touch with somebody who can help you create that business plan. Maybe it's bookkeeping, or maybe it's your taxes. You know, we send our taxes. We have somebody that does our taxes. We do our own bookkeeping, but somebody else helps us with our taxes because it's too complicated. So where do you need help? When I was very weak on technology. And this was in 2010. And everybody was saying, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. And I'm thinking, I don't want to do this. I don't want another job. I have a job. I have a business. I really don't want, the learning curve is going to be so steep here. But I realized I had to do it if I was going to stay with the times. So I paid a coach, and I worked with a coach for a year. And that not only helped me understand what to do, but it gave me the confidence to be able to continue on in social media. So if you're weak in social media, or any of these areas, now's the time to plan. Now's the time to say, as you think about your expenses for next year, if I need help with bookkeeping, if I need help with something like that, I need to think about hiring somebody now. We were coaching a young man who was in insurance sales, and he was great. Well, he was great at selling, but he was lousy with his paperwork. And his paperwork took him so much time, he was spending more time on his paperwork than he was spending selling. And so it was costing him money to have to do his own paperwork. And we said, hire somebody, pay them $10 an hour to do your paperwork for you, and you stay out there and run and keep selling. You're going to get that money back tenfold. This is very important. You don't have to be everything. You don't have to wear every hat. You just have to make sure all the areas are covered. So I'm going to challenge you right now to make a plan for where are you going to add something to improve for next year so that next year you can continue to grow your business. Because the one thing we don't want to do is we don't want to be like the crazy people who keep doing the same thing over and over again but expect a different result. That's what crazy people do. Every year, Joe and I look at our business and we're like, okay, what do we need to add? What do we need to do to make our business more effective next year? Now, if you're looking for help with technology, we've got an event coming up on November 12th. My daughter and I, marketing millennials to menopause, taking in the whole gambit. And we're actually going to be showing you how to inexpensively work with the technology. We're going to be showing you how to put together YouTube. We're going to be showing you, thanks for the love, we're going to be showing you how, the simple things. Like, for instance, I'm using a mic, all right, with my cell phone. Because cell phones have lousy, well, how much? This mic was only $20. $20, and I get better sound. There's little tips like that we can help you with, whether it's, and we can help you learn how to build your brand. We're going to talk about branding, how to reach millennials, because if you're not reaching millennials, you're missing out on so I think it's a $300 billion market. I mean, it's a huge market out there. So you really want to be able to stay up with these things and help your business move forward. So I'm going to leave a link. When I post this, I'm going to have a link. Lydia has one. Just a quick reminder, NAWBO, business plan competition. She's got, thank you, Lydia. She's put the link there for the business plan competition. Connect with these people. NAWBO is a great organization. There's also other great organizations, networking groups in this town. We've got WOMTech. We've got lots of different powerful women networking. Yeah, thanks for the love. Yeah, we've got lots of great networking groups in this town. Connect and do that. And if you want to connect with us, well, here's our information. And I'm here every Thursday to help you gain the tactical skills that you need to move ahead in your business and your career. This is Dawn Pici with Pici and Pici, where we help you gain an unfair advantage over your competition. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week.